The wastelands were silent. Only the breath of the wind moved across the dry earth, and even that seemed to whisper with hesitation, as if afraid to disturb the ground where so many had fallen. Once, this place had been alive, with rivers, trees, and the roar of herds that crossed the plains in thunderous migration. But time devours everything. Now, only stone, dust, and the smell of fear remained. And in the center of this desolate land stood the maw, a stone arena carved into the ground by creatures whose names had long since turned to dust. It was not a place of celebration or glory. The maw was a graveyard where warriors came to make one choice: win or die. Kael stood at the edge of the canyon's mouth, the wind tugging at his thick mane. A lion in exile, he bore the marks of old battles, not just on his hide, but in his eyes. He had once been king of the Great Pride, a leader known not only for his power but for his sense of justice. He had led with wisdom and fire, and his pride had prospered. But power, once given, often invites betrayal. Kael had not seen it coming. His brother Thorn had stood beside him, loyal and sharp-eyed, or so Kael had believed. When the drought came and tensions grew, Thorn whispered doubt into the ears of the young and the fearful. He turned them against Kael with lies woven from envy and ambition. In one brutal night, Kael lost everything: his title, his pride, his name. He wandered for moons, through forest, over mountain, across riverbeds that had turned to bone. He watched himself disappear. In every reflective surface, he searched for the lion who had once stood tall, and saw only a shadow with broken teeth and eyes dulled by shame. And then the jackal came, a solitary figure with one blind eye and a silver ear. He spoke no words, only dropped a smooth stone at Kael's paws. Etched into its surface were two symbols: the claw of victory and the fang of death. Kael closed his paw around the stone. He did not need an explanation. The call was clear. The journey to Maw was neither guided nor mapped. It was felt. Every night, Kael dreamed of blood and sand. Every morning, the horizon seemed to lean in, beckoning him forward. He passed creatures who shrank away from him, sensing something in his silence, not fury, but inevitability. When he arrived at the maw, no one greeted him. The stone arena was filled with creatures of all species: bears with battle-scar hides, wolves with eyes like knives, vultures who fed only on the losers. They sat in silence, as if waiting for the storm to begin. Kael stepped into the center. There was no ceremony, no declarations, only the slow sound of the gate grinding open. His first opponent was a leopard named Vyre. She moved like water, all grace and no hesitation. Her eyes glinted with calculation, and she struck first, a flurry of claws that cut deep. Kael's chest tore open, blood darkening his golden fur. He staggered back, lips curled, but he did not fall. Vyre darted in again, faster than thought. Kael waited for the rhythm of her movement, the pattern beneath the chaos. When it came, he pivoted hard and caught her mid-pounce, slamming her into the earth. She gasped, breath stolen, claws digging into his flank, but Kael held her there. Her body tensed. She waited for death, but it didn't come. Kael rose and stepped back. The crowd murmured, not in disappointment, but confusion. In the maw, mercy was rare, weakness even rarer. But Kael did not show mercy because he pitied her. He showed it because he understood this place didn't need more death. It needed remembrance, honor, something forgotten. The next battle came at dusk. A silverback gorilla named Bram, who fought not with rage, but joy. He laughed when he entered the ring, beating his chest with fists like hammers. "I heard the king was dead," Bram said, grinning. Seems the rumors were wrong. Kael didn't answer. Words no longer mattered. The fight was brutal. Bram's strength was overwhelming, and Kael found himself battered against stone walls, gasping for breath through cracked ribs. But his mind was clearer now. He began to see the gaps, the hesitation between Bram's charges, the way his right arm dipped slightly before a swing. And when the moment came, Kael countered not with fury but precision. He brought Bram down with a final strike that echoed through the stone walls. As the dust settled, Kael stood bleeding, but unbroken, and he remained still. Again, he did not deliver death. The maw began to whisper. Kael fought every night, against panthers, jackals, hyenas who fought in twos and threes. He faced a python longer than any river he'd crossed, who tried to crush his breath from his lungs. He battled a white eagle who struck from above with talons that tasted his blood. And every time, Kael stood victorious. But each battle carved something from him. Not just flesh, but memory. The farther he walked through blood and dust, the more he began to forget why he had come. Was it to reclaim honor, to take revenge, or simply to prove that he still mattered? Then one moonless night, the final gate opened. Kael stood in the center of the maw, surrounded by silence. From the shadows emerged Thorn. He had changed. His mane was darker, weighted with dirt and blood. His body bore the muscle of countless battles. But it was his eyes that struck Kael, still cold, still gleaming with hunger, not for victory, for power. "I wondered if you'd survive," Thorn said, circling. "I hope you would. Nothing is sweeter than killing to pass yourself." Kael said nothing. There was nothing left to say. They clashed, claws on claws, roars like thunder. The arena shook beneath them as years of grief and betrayal erupted into fury. Thorn was faster now, his body lean, conditioned by endless violence. But Kael had changed too. He no longer fought to win. He fought to let go. They tore through the sand, two storms colliding. The crowd did not cheer. They watched, spellbound, understanding that this was more than a fight. This was the end of something old and the beginning of something unknown. At last, Thorn fell. His body trembled beneath Kael's paw, neck exposed, blood darkening the earth. "Do it," Thorn growled, defiant even in defeat. "Take your throne back." Kael stared at him, and then, slowly, he stepped away. Thorn blinked in disbelief. "You don't understand," Kael said softly. "I came here to win not by killing you, but by proving that I don't have to." The silence that followed was complete. Then, without warning, the warriors of the maw began to lower their heads, one by one, not in submission, in respect, for a lion who had come to this graveyard and walked out with his soul intact. Kael didn't stay. He walked out of the maw at sunrise, his body broken, but his heart whole. He returned to the Great Plains, not as a king demanding a throne, but as a guardian who had seen death, tasted despair, and chosen something higher. In time, the pride accepted him once more, not because of his strength, because of his wisdom. He had faced the deepest pit of violence and walked away with mercy in his eyes. And that was what it truly meant to win.